know your name, I swear I do. It's on the tip of my tongue. Sorry, what did you say? And I've known you for how long? Your face is so familiar, but no name comes to mind. And please, can you remind me if you'll be so kind? Staring out into space, asking God to hear my case. Trying to think of all things past. How long will my memory last?
Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to Alzheimer Speaks Radio. I'm your host and founder of Alzheimer Speaks, Lori LeBay. And the reason I started this program is because my mother lived with dementia for 30 years, so I totally get it. And our goal here is really to find resources and share them with you so that you don't have to struggle as much as my family did. So our goal here overall is we're an advocacy-based company providing multiple platforms to shift our dementia care from crisis to comfort around the world. We also help companies expand their brand footprint by leveraging our content to increase access to products, services, and tools to those truly in need. I also like to every time thank our audience. You guys are just absolutely marvelous. You may want to call in today and ask a question or make a comment on our topic, which we're going to be talking about bridging the gap in patient education. And to do that, all you have to do is dial into 323-870-4602. That's 323-870-4602. Getting back to our audience, you lovely listeners, again, I just want to thank you because you have expanded our footprint here as Alzheimer Speaks. Because of your likes, your clicks, and your shares, you have gotten us recognized all around the world, and it's just helping people find the information that they need and deserve so much easier. So thank you so much for your efforts. Those little likes, clicks, and shares really do move mountains. So I hope that you will keep that up. I also, before I get into our interview, I always like to give a shout out to a couple of companies. And one company I want to talk to you about is Silver Dawn Training Institute, because they equip both professionals and loved ones with a new way to communicate with those who are diagnosed with dementia. And they call it introspective improv, and they also go by the name Dementia Raw. And I have met both the founders, Kathy and Tammy. They are just a lot of fun and very knowledgeable, and their approach is really unscripted, unconventional, and unapologetic, and they deal with real life scenarios that all of us go through. And they look at it not only from a care partner's viewpoint, but also a patient's viewpoint, and get us to understand both sides. And they are coming to my neck of the woods in Minnesota, August 6th and 7th in White Bear Lake for a certified dementia communication specialist training. And you can go to cdcsdementiaraw.com to get more information. That's cdcsdementiaraw.com. They will be in other places around the country, and maybe you want to bring them to your area as well. Another company I'd like to give a shout out to is the Roberto app. The Roberto app is really cool because it measures brain function through video engagement. So you can just go to alzheimerspeaks.com. You'll see a big banner on the right-hand side for the Roberto app, and you'll be able to get an extended trial period if you sign up through that plan and check it out. I think it's a fabulous tool. Maria Shriver, I always like to mention. I just idolize her. I just think she's doing marvelous work. She has a group called the Women's Alzheimer's Movement and Move for the Minds, and she is doing a lot with research for women in Alzheimer's because there wasn't a specific, and we tend to get it more than the men. So you can learn more about Maria's initiatives. She's got books. She has a fabulous newsletter she sends out that's just very empowering and positive, and that newsletter isn't just dementia specific, called the Sunday Paper. But go to the Women's Alzheimer's Movement.org for more information there. And then last I want to mention before I introduce our guest is the American Senior Magazine. They are a lifestyle magazine for seniors with topics ranging from nostalgia, health, and wellness. And they interview and do spotlights on notable older Americans. And it's a fun magazine to subscribe to. It's got some games in there. It's got large print. It's easy to read, and it's just uplifting. So check out the AmericanSeniorMagazine.com, or again, you can go to AlzheimerSpeaks.com and look for our side banner there where you can get a discount. Now, today's program, we're going to be talking about bridging the gap in patient education. And so we're going to be talking with a company by the name of Medicine X, which is a new digital education initiative which aims to bridge the gap in patient education by creating digestible medical content, which can be so overwhelming, and make it accessible to all patients in the privacy of their own home. So what a cool concept is that. And they do also have Facebook support groups. They have digital antidotes and mail subscriptions. MedX is dedicated to developing a jargon-free, visual, interactive, free patient resource. With the help of healthcare specialists and key opinion leaders, Medicine Explained programs follow the journey of a patient with a specific medical condition. And these stories offer engaging, holistic content that empowers and educates patients regardless of their age, their gender, or condition to be more involved in their medical decisions, which sometimes it can just get so overwhelming. So today we are lucky to have Erin Broughton with us, and she is the project manager for the Malibu-based Medicine X office. She has an extensive background in pharmaceutical advertising and leverages her experience in the marketing field to access and help create awareness campaigns designed to help educate and empower patients living with various medical conditions. So welcome, Erin. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you with us here. On the show, I always ask everybody, my first question is, have you been personally touched by dementia?
I haven't been personally touched by dementia, but being a part of this program that we're developing, I've come across so many people who have, told us their stories, and you can just see how it touched their lives, and hearing about their journey, it's just incredible to know that there's that many people out there that are either themselves or loved ones are dealing with this condition.
Okay. Well, great. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. I want to ask you first how Medicine X is different from other companies who are offering patient education, because there's plenty of them out there.
Yeah, that's true. There's a ton of companies out there offering patient education, and everyone these days has access to the internet, and they can Google search anything and find information on any particular topic. But what makes our programs different is the storytelling aspect. So Kim Shulman-Blair, who's our founder, her background is she's a doctor, and she found that when she was working with patients that they really weren't taking in or understanding their diagnosis and their conditions. So she had the idea to use storytelling to wrap up all of the medical information and jargon in a narrative, and just innately people have a better recall and more of a takeaway when they get the information in a story rather than just facts and figures. So we do base our programs and our stories on a real-life patient because we want to make sure that the story is accurate, it's coming from the patient's perspective, and in that sense, it's relatable. And we use a team of medical writers that write the medical information, and then they work with the graphic novelists and artists to turn that information into engaging content without losing the important medical aspect. And then our stories are reviewed by the top doctors in the field to make sure it's accurate. What we're putting out there is, in fact, accurate information. And we work with the foundations as well to partner and align with them on any sort of key messaging that we feel needs to get out into the world, depending on the condition we're talking about. So it's really that narrative, that storytelling that isn't really out there, and it's really relatable, and it's well received by our community of patients that we've been testing it with.
Yeah, I think that's why Alzheimer Speaks has been successful, because we do tell real stories, and we are inclusive of everybody. And for me, it's always easier for me to kind of chunk down and swallow and understand when I can see it applied in a real life situation, to understand it. So I think that that's wonderful you guys are doing that, because so many people go to the doctor and then they come out and you say, what did you hear? And they're like, well, I'm not really sure.
Yeah,
they can't take it all in.
That's exactly it. And especially, depending on what the diagnosis is, there can be very, very serious. So you're already, taking in the fact that you have a diagnosis or a loved one has a diagnosis, and then to retain information that you're given or the doctor's talking to you about, it's hard. It's not easy. And so most people then turn to the internet and Google, and as everyone knows, you can't, not everything on the internet is accurate. So it's really a nice way to ensure that the patients are getting the information that they need. And in the case of Alzheimer's, a lot of times it's not the patient, in fact, that's getting the information. It's a caregiver or a loved one. So it's important for them to fully understand the condition and what their loved one is dealing with.
Well, and I like that you can go back and listen to it again, so it's not one time catch it or you miss it type thing. And
yeah,
you
exactly.
Can do it in your own home. You can share it with your friends. You can, so that everybody can get on the same page and be hearing the same story. I think there's so many benefits to that. So I think this is
and the way we write our stories are, you can read the storyline along the linear level, and then we have clickable, we call them hotspots, and they're pulsing blue text, and you can click on those, and that will take the reader to further information on that particular word or phrase if they want to go down that route. If not, they can read it along just the storyline level, and it's for all literacy levels. It's not complicated to understand. It's digestible, as you said, and it really helps empower them to understand and ask questions, and something they may not have thought about when they had their initial doctor's visit. We have places you can bookmark the story throughout. The app has a feature where you can take notes or, write things down to talk to your doctor about. So we really try to make it as user-friendly as possible while also educating them.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is wonderful. We touched on this a little bit, but I want to just go a little bit deeper on why you feel storytelling approach works well with people.
Sure, I think it's with anything. If you're emotionally involved in the story, then it's you're just gonna take it in better, and you're gonna be more likely to actually remember what you've read. I think Stanford University did a study that people are 22 times more likely to have a behavior change if the information they're given is wrapped up in a narrative. So it's been proven that it just works better than just being handed a brochure with just words on it. And a lot of medical jargon is just that it's not relatable to the average person. So we want to make sure that what we're putting out there is useful, because it's all about helping the patient and helping the community and raising that awareness. So we are fully committed to making sure these stories are entertaining and factual and credible, which is why we get the top doctors to look at them, and they're happy to do it. They love the program, because a lot of times doctors don't have a ton of time to spend with patients. So the fact that they know that they can give them this our website or our programs, we have web keys that we provide to doctors that doctors can give to patients that take them straight to the story. They feel comfortable knowing that their patients can go there and get information that is accurate and will help them.
Mm-hmm. One of the sources that I don't know if you guys are aware of, because this is fairly new, but it is called Care to Plan, and I would highly recommend that you guys go out there. You can see what it looks like if you go to my website, alzheimerspeaks.com, and click on the resource directory. But it's in beta testing right now, and it's a dementia-specific directory, and they'll be coming up with other directories, like for heart disease and different things. But I think your information would be really, really valuable
that's great.
to have in that. And there's a form you can click to become part of the beta testing, and they should be going live by the we're hoping fall, but by the end of the year for sure, with the whole program, where people will be able to search for if it's doctors and clinics or housing, or they have a section for education and medications and all different types of support. So they still have to do some of the subcategory breakdowns on that. But I think you guys would be a great addition for that to help get your word out there.
Anywhere we can go to get the word out, that's and that's one of the reasons why we partner with charities and foundations on these programs, because they help spread the awareness. And again, we're all on the same team when it comes to helping the patients and the families. So anywhere we can be where it's going to get noticed is certainly helpful for us.
Okay, so how do patients and families find Medicine X programs? Where do they go?
So they can go to our website, which is medicinex.com, and we have a list of programs that we've done in the U.S. on there, and they're accessible via a website. So this one will be alzheimersexplain.com with just the X in explain, not the E. And we post on our Medicine X Facebook page when it's live. We post a link to the website, which houses the story. The apps are available for free on iTunes and Google Play, and we do a big push on social media once our programs are live, and we just find that the people that follow us or are in our communities, they share on their own pages, and then it thus gets shared throughout. So it's really a social push, but also accessible on our website and the app stores.
Okay, so you had mentioned, is your first video going to be regarding dementia Alzheimer's specific, or is it a broader view?
It's specific to Alzheimer's, but in saying that, we do touch on the dementia aspect because it's important to understand sort of the difference. And we go from, diagnosis to, the pathophysiology to, talking about tips and tricks and support groups, and really just it's a whole package of information and education.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that, so I appreciate that. So do you find, I can see where this information is valuable to the patient, but do you see people really tapping into this for family and extended family and friends as well being shared?
Absolutely. I mean, it's especially something like Alzheimer's, because I think, most people have heard about Alzheimer's, but they don't really understand all the stages and what happens during those stages. So we think it's absolutely useful for, family and loved ones and friends to, read and understand and be able to, really kind of empathize with what the Alzheimer's patient is going through. Just knowledge is power, and the more you know about any condition, the more you're going to understand it, and the sort of easier it's going to be to cope with, the progression. So, and again, with other programs that we've done, some are not as widely known as something like Alzheimer's. So, if someone gets a diagnosis with something that, isn't sort of something that you hear about every day, I'm reading about it and learning about it through our sort of colloquial language and conversational tone really helps to educate not only the patient but the person that's close with that patient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like that idea. Can you tell us how and by whom the stories are written? How do you know that you're digging deep and getting things accurate? I know you had mentioned the doctors reviewing and stuff, but initially, how is that researched?
So initially, we have a team of doctors in-house that write the initial content, and we then send that to the key opinion leaders, the top doctors, the foundations, to ensure that what we're writing is accurate. And then from there, we have our in-house doctors work with graphic novelists. We work with writers all over the world and artists all over the world, and they've written for everything from Netflix shows to Nickelodeon to Marvel Comics. So it's combining those two people together to find a way to make this information sort of more relatable and engaging. I don't like to use the word funny, but there's having a little bit of a wink and a smile on there from time to time, and then from there they work with the artists to bring it to life through graphics and illustration. And all along the way we're sending each phase, each review to the doctors to make sure we're covering off all of our bases. And we also have a focus group of patients that review the first draft to ensure that it's relatable to them, because they're the ones that are ultimately going to be reading this, and we want to make sure it makes sense and that we're covering off things that they think are going to be helpful.
Mm-hmm. Well, that makes sense. And I like that you have a little bit of humor in there too, because this is a heavy topic, and just like any other chronic illness. And, one of the things I think that is missing so often is the laughter and the joy. Everything is doom and gloom. And, laughter to me kind of holds our relationships together. It's
absolutely.
A very intimate thing and very personal. And I think it's extremely, extremely important, and yet so often overlooked. And so I like that you're working that in. And again, not that anyone wants to make fun of this disease, because by no stretch of the imagination is it in that light. I just want to make sure
and in
people
saying
are clear with that.
I mean, we're very sensitive and aware to that fact that, you know, these are serious conditions, and we would in no way want to, you know, make too much light of it. But we do find ways to, you know, put a little bit of humor into something when we're discussing, you know, what might be happening to the brain, you know, during, you know, stage 1, and the characters that we're using, you know, there's a little bit of, you know, humorous language in there, without downplaying the seriousness of the condition, of course. But I agree, it's finding that balance, and also just making sure we're, you know, really using words and tone that you would almost use if you were just having a conversation with a friend. You know, it really helps get that message across and feel like you're not being talked down to, you're not, you know, being taught to, you're just having a conversation with somebody who's going through something similar.
Is there, you know, for you, has there been, you know, one of your videos that's really stood out, or comments that you've gotten from people that you're just like, yep, we're on the right path, this is good?
Yeah, so we did. So the first program we launched in the U.S. was for migraine, and what we found after we launched was that a lot of people were writing into us saying, you know, I had no idea that a migraine was actually a brain disease. You know, I just thought it was a really bad headache, and I think that was a very common misperception around migraine. And yeah, so and I was guilty of it too. You know, I think everyone's had a situation, whether it be at work or for an event, where someone has called in with a migraine, and, you know, they may be out for several days, and, you know, my first thought is, oh, it's just a headache. Can't you just take something for it? But it's more serious than that. It is a disease, and that kind of was like we struck gold with that one, because we felt like we really kind of got that message across and helped change the perception of people who suffer from that condition.
Yeah, and that's it's such a common issue for people out there, and I think, you know, with what you're doing too, it brings a normality into that dementia is a disease, or not dementia, but dementia category of diseases are real. And, you know, it's not just this little bit of memory loss. You know, there's Alzheimer's and Lewy body and frontal temporal, you know, lobe degeneration, and vascular, and so many others, you know, and it would be, I know our group would love to see specific videos on each of those categories, yet they understand very well that some people may have more than one type, you know, and be living in a combination of them as well. And I think, you know, people don't always understand that can even happen. You know, it's a lot of people still think everything is Alzheimer's disease, and we're just learning so much more, you know, as the research continues with that. Now, what other types of services or programs other than the story does Medicine X offer to people?
So our story is obviously it's our bread and butter. It's what we're founded on, is the education aspect. So, you know, so the website and the app are available, but we also have email subscription lists where you can opt in to be on our mailing list, and we don't spam people. We're not sending, you know, emails on the daily. We're very aware that people are busy these days, and their inbox can get cluttered. So the stuff that we put out there, we send about 2 emails a month, and we work with the foundations. We work with the doctors to put out valuable content, or, you know, something about, and maybe there's an event going on that, you know, our community might be interested in. And then on top of that, we also, if people join into our Facebook groups, we do post content weekly that is also, you know, for educational purposes. But it's all in our same conversational tone. I mean, everything you get from Medicine X is going to be, you know, sort of that friendly, non. It's all relatable. You're not feeling like you're getting something that is going to be difficult to understand, or I don't even want to read this. So it's the subscriber list and in our Facebook communities, and all of our Facebook communities besides our Medicine Next general page, they are closed private communities. So we do have to accept people into them, but we have found with all of our groups that it's such an amazing place for these patients. They feel safe that they can talk to, other people going through these conditions. They can ask questions. We do have our doctors on staff that do answer the questions, which is something that I think you don't get in a lot of these, private groups. So that's a very valuable service, and they're just growing and growing and growing. It's amazing the resource that these communities do offer to people.
Now, one of the questions that I know is probably going through some of my audience members' minds is, and I know that when the doctors are reviewing questions and stuff, I'm sure they can't get too deep because they can't give medical advice, I would imagine, to people who truly aren't their patients at that time. But is this something that, and again, I just think this is something our audience will ask, that where they're going to be kind of pushing more pharma-related resources for things, or do they look at all holistic practices as well and supports that are available?
So we never talk or recommend treatment specific. We do always say if someone is asking for advice on a particular treatment or method, we do advise them to talk to their doctor or their healthcare provider. It's more we answer general questions about something about the the pathophysiology, or what happens if upon diagnosis I'm told that it's already stage 2 or something. It's pretty general, but it is coming from a trained doctor, whereas you might not get that information just Googling on the internet. But yeah, anything specific to their particular treatment, we do advise them to talk to their doctors about it.
Okay, great. And then members can talk with one another and kind of share experiences of what works or hasn't worked, or what they're in need of learning from.
It's amazing the way they just communicate with each other. I mean, they just, we have so many people posting daily and posting things that, help them, or advice or support groups. It's a real, we get messages all the time just thanking us for these groups, because they feel like they can be open and speak in like a safe forum, and they're not intimidated. And we monitor them. We have 24-hour monitoring of our communities. So if there is, someone's reporting something, we do take action on that. But they've been great resources for the patients.
Okay. Well, that's nice
and people
to
just
know.
looking for information on it as well.
Yeah, because I know a lot of times people, especially when social media was newer, people poo-pooed that relationships couldn't be built and through these groups. And yet over the years, I have just seen powerful, amazing relationships develop through these Facebook groups. And the comfort level and the support that they give one another is incredible. And, their willingness to be truly authentic. So I think one of the neat things that I've seen with the groups is it cuts away all the crap, basically, of trying to look pretty, be pretty, meet other people's needs. And people are just really authentic. And they all know they're going through stuff, and they're all accepting of what each other is going through, and everybody just really wants to make everybody's journey a little bit easier. And
Absolutely, and we see a lot of people saying, "Oh, I'm going in," depending on what they're talking about. They might be going in to have a scan done or get some levels checked, and wish me luck. And everyone's chiming in, giving them support, and you never know what these people are going through. They may not have a network of family or friends or a support network. So these groups can really become that support group for certain people. And then you see people checking back in to see how appointments went, how test results came in. So it's really sort of heartwarming to see people just lifting each other up. You're not alone in this. We're here to talk to you if you need it. So it's I agree with you. It's definitely, social media has definitely changed from when it from the onset, and it's become not as a threatening of a place in certain platforms, and I think we can definitely say that for our communities.
Yeah, that's wonderful, because it really, for some people that's their lifeline. It's not their family, it's not their friends, because they might be in denial or not truly understanding or accepting of what is going on, and and that can make it really difficult to be on this journey if you feel like you're alone. And
if you feel
so
like
I think
you're alone, and then sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, because we do see a lot, particularly with our migraine community, that people just don't understand. They don't understand what I'm going through. They say it's just a headache. Take some Advil, take some Excedrin. It's not that, and they're getting that validation from people who are going through this themselves. Just knowing that someone out there understands exactly what you're going through can be so powerful, and it can really help people get through stages of their condition. Exactly.
Well, I think this has been really an interesting conversation. If I remember correctly, you don't have your Alzheimer's video released yet, but I believe that that's coming up soon. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so we are nearly ready to launch. We are going to, there's a conference in Chicago this weekend called the AAIC, so we will be attending that and just raising awareness for the programs. And that starts on Sunday, which is when our website is scheduled to be live.
Okay, wonderful. And so, again, just in terms of wrapping up, so for finding you on Facebook, they would just put in medicine and then X. Or they can go to medicinex.com, which is your formal website. And if people want to contact by email, it would be contact@medicinex.com. Any last things that you would like to share with our audience that maybe we missed?
Well, what I would suggest is if people are interested in joining our Alzheimer's Explain Facebook community, I would do so, especially before the weekend, because at the conference in Chicago, we're planning on doing some Facebook Live interviews with some of the doctors there, and that gives patients in our community or caregivers or family members in the community to, live ask questions to these doctors that we can answer for them at the conference. So we've done that at past launches, and it's just been really well received, and the people in the communities love them.
Wonderful. Well, Erin, I thank you so much for your time and all that
thank you so much.
You and your group are doing with Medicine X. I think it's absolutely wonderful, and I look forward to seeing the video and helping push that out when that goes live on Sunday. In wrapping up, again, I just want to say, go to medicinex.com or put in Medicine X for Facebook to get more information and check it out. I think their videos are really quite cool, and I think you'll find them very helpful. And, many of us with dementia in the dementia community are dealing with all kinds of different medical conditions. And so you may just find some information that you need there. I know I saw different ones on depression, and I think it was Crohn's disease. And you can probably speak a little bit more on some of the others that you have out there just to give people ideas. Might be helpful, too, before we close.
Well, we have a lot. So our headquarters are based in Australia. So there are a lot of programs that are done specifically for the Australian market. So unfortunately, we can't access those from our iTunes or any of the app stores in the U.S. But there is a list of the U.S. ones we've done. So we've done migraine, and we've done a condition called diabetic gastroparesis. And we have Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis launching soon, and then the Alzheimer's one as well. And then there's lots in the pipeline, which will, hopefully be coming up in the next several months. So I would just keep checking our website for more details.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you again for your time with us, Erin. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Lori.
In closing, I'm just going to give a shout out to a couple other organizations. One is the Call Alert Center, which is a great tool if you are worried about somebody who might wander away. It's very inexpensive to have all set up for a year, and you can learn more information by going to the callalertcenter.com/caregiver, callalertcenter.com/caregiver, or again, go to Alzheimer's Speaks and look at our side tab, and you'll get a 20% discount on that when you sign up as well. Two others that I'd like to tell you about are the Alzheimer's Research and Prevention Foundation. I just adore these guys. If you're looking for ways to be able to help yourself live better with dementia through food and exercise and meditation, this is definitely your go-to company. So you go to alzheimersprevention.org, alzheimersprevention.org, and then calendar cards, and calendar and cards both are spelled with a K, is a memory system which just makes it a little easier to coordinate daily life and keep people with dementia as independent as possible. They also have pulled together the U.S.'s Memory Cafe directory. So if you go to memorycafedirectory.com, you will find the information on calendar cards because they are the sponsors of that, but you'll also be able to tap into these wonderful groups that support people with dementia and their care partners to live graciously. And we're approaching the 500 mark with these support groups in the U.S. that we know of. They're kind of a grassroots thing, and but very, very powerful for people in another way to find support in your area. So thank you all so much for listening to Alzheimer's Speaks Radio. And if you are looking for additional resources, please check out alzheimersspeaks.com. And maybe you want to become dementia friendly or get involved with the Purple Angel Initiative, or there's so many other things that we have on the site itself. Feel free to check it out. Have a wonderful day. Thanks, everyone. Bye now.
Hi, this is Suzanne Newman, host of the Answers for Elders podcast and radio show. We are the North Star that guides you through the complicated journey of senior care with trusted experts in money, law, living solutions, and more. So join us on this station, your favorite podcast channel, or just go to AnswersForElders.com. Meet the Wayshowers who will help your journey go a lot easier.